Hi, I'm Judy. Welcome to Go with Yin Yoga. Are you ready to find your perfect seated butterfly pose? I'm going to break it down for you and I'm going to give you some variations, and hopefully one of these will make you feel more comfortable in butterfly pose if you're not already comfortable in it. This is not a full practice, but we are going to spend some time in the pose. You will need at least a couple of blocks. They are optional, but I'd like you to try them out. Maybe a couple more and a bolster. Once again, you can do this pose without any of that, but they can make it feel more easeful, especially for Yin Yoga, where we hold poses for 3 to 5 minutes very often. And I'm also going to suggest that you sit on top of something so your hips are a little higher than your knees. That can make it feel easier to sit for longer periods of time. So go ahead, gather up your props, and then join me on your mat. And by the way, I do have a tutorial on how to do reclined butterfly pose as well. So you can find that up above if you're interested in that one. So gather up your props, take a comfortable seat, hopefully hips a little elevated, and just begin to breathe. Allow your forehead to soften. Maybe move your neck back a little bit as your spine grows taller out of your pelvic bowl. Notice how with that nice straight spine, breathing is easier. Just arriving on our mats. Butterfly pose is associated with the liver and gallbladder meridians in traditional Chinese medicine. Those are the two meridians that are associated with the spring season, also known as associated with the wood element. And when we're out of balance, you may feel irritated, you may feel angry, you may feel frustrated, and you may feel really inflexible, not just in your body, but it could be that, but also in your thoughts and your judgments, where it's the highway or my way sort of thinking. And also related to that rigidity, that inflexibility, you may have joint pain, which actually also really goes along with the Vata dosha. Vata dosha, when imbalanced, tends to have some forms of joint pain. And go ahead on your next inhale, in through the nose, out through the mouth, in through the nose, out through the nose. Go ahead and just roll your shoulders up, back and down, getting rid of any tension you may be feeling, and then coming back the other way. And then let your ear come to one shoulder, chin comes to chest, and ear goes to the other shoulder. So half neck rolls. Just getting rid of some of the places we hold tension. One last one. Or take any little movements you need to fully arrive into this moment now. Go ahead and take the soles of your feet together, and your knees come out to either side. And your knees may be much lower than mine, and they could be much further than mine. And if you're on a cushion, I'm going to readjust here. If you're on a cushion, you usually want to be towards the front of your cushion. So just take the soles of your feet together and let the knees come out, beginning with a straight spine. And this is butterfly pose. And if you're practice vinyasa or hatha yoga, you're probably already familiar with it, but you're probably not holding it 3 to 5 minutes at a time. Now, this may feel very comfortable for you. I'm relatively flexible in my hips, and it is a comfortable pose for me. But for a lot of people, it really isn't. But it's a really beneficial pose. So, one thing you can play around with to begin with is just to move your feet. You can bring them in closer towards your body, in which case you're going to feel it in your inner thighs most likely, fairly strongly, maybe in your groin. And that's great because those are areas that our liver meridian target. And you can also try taking your feet a little further out. And then notice, where does the sensation go? Most likely it begins to come more outside. And that's also great because our gallbladder meridian runs down the outsides of our legs. So either are perfectly fine variations of butterfly pose. You have to find the variation that is right for you. So I'm going to take mine back a little closer to myself, to myself. And of course, one of the things you can do to make the pose more comfortable is, as I've suggested, to sit up on a cushion or a bolster, a folded blanket, even a block, rather than sitting directly onto your mat. And while I'm going through all these variations, you can be trying it, you can be holding, you can be breathing in and out through your nose smoothly. So you're getting the benefit of the posture, even though we're not doing a full practice. Now, the next thing you can do is you can use the blocks, if you like. The cork block is really good for this. It's nice and sturdy. And you can take 2 blocks together, and the height's going to depend on, your body. So normally when we do butterfly pose, we start with an upright spine, and then we allow that spine to round. Normally in hatha or vinyasa yoga, we prefer to have a straighter spine. It's all good, really. But this is a variation that can just really help you feel calmer. And it's pressing into an acupressure point at your third eye, which is very calming. Also stimulating your vagus nerve a little bit. Runs from that area all the way down the center of your body. Also really calming. And you can play around with the height of your blocks. You can take it, you may want to start out with one on top of the other to begin with. And then as you release into the pose over time, you may want to take one down on a lower level. And you may even want to, as time goes on, take it down on its lower level. It's just all things to play with. And whatever you find out today may not be your butterfly pose tomorrow. And that's true of any pose. We don't show up the same way every single day. Our bodies feel different day to day. Now, another way we can use our blocks, and I really like to do this, even though I am somewhat flexible in my hips, I like to take them under my upper thighs, like this. So what that does is it just allows the muscles of your legs to relax into the pose. We're not trying to stretch our muscles when we come into Yin Yoga. We're trying to get deeper than the muscles, and we're trying to keep our muscles really relaxed. And again, play with the height and the position in this pose when you use the blocks underneath your thighs. And another variation, if you want to let your head round, you can also take your hands and hold your head with your hands like this if you don't have enough blocks. And that's another option. And you can leave the blocks there if you wish. You can remove them if you'd like. If you have a bolster or a cushion, a heavy cushion, you can take it and put against your thighs and just relax your upper body into your bolster. Allowing your back to release. Again, this may help you to feel calm as we hold the pose for our 3 to 5 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and remove my bolster. And I'm going to remove my blocks. So if none of those variations are working for you, another option is simply to take half butterfly. And what we do in that case is take one leg straight out to the side and the other leg comes in, roughly towards the midline of your body. And you can be upright and you can, again, as time goes on, allow the head to come down. Allow the head to be happy. Or if you have low back issues, you may want to stay upright in your butterfly pose completely or any other, or not go as deep. And sometimes, I'm going to go ahead and switch my legs very quickly. So I'm a little balanced. Sometimes it's not our flexibility or our range of motion that are stopping us from getting into these shapes. Sometimes it is simply our physical body, our bones. Our bones vary from person to person. And sometimes the problem is that our bones will not allow us to get into various shapes. So the shape isn't really what it's about. Not in Yin Yoga, really not in Hatha or Vinyasa Yoga. What you are targeting, and that is, in our case, the outer thighs, our outer thighs and outer legs for gallbladder, ending at our 4th toe. Or for the liver meridian, it's our inner thighs and the groin, ending at our, starting at our big toe. I believe I have that right. I may have mixed it up. Okay, so whatever variation you're in right now, I'm going to suggest that you lean back. You are free to stay in butterfly pose for as long as you like. It's a really nice pose. It's great for your hips. Most of us need some work on our hips. But if you're ready to move on with your day, I'm going to suggest that you lean back onto your hands. Take your feet a little wider than hip width apart. And just windshield wipe your legs. Let the knees fall to one side. And then the other. And then finally, I'm going to move my blocks out of the way. You may want to take a little time in what's known as the rebound pose. Now, really good idea actually to have your hips still up, raised up, but I'm just going to do it this way for today. And a good rebound pose, we generally stay there for roughly a minute, and it's just to feel the energy moving through our body after we've held a pose for 3 to 5 minutes or longer. Come into staff pose, take your hands a little bit further than your torso, and just lean back. Maybe close your eyes. And just breathe in and out through your nose. And just note where you're feeling sensations in your body. So somewhere you need to soften a little bit more. Just a couple more breaths. And then push into your palms to begin to raise your torso upright. Or I really invite you to lay back and take a short Savasana. I am not going to cue that, but you can just pause the video. And just take a few minutes in Shavasana if you like. Never doubt that you are getting the benefit of Yin Yoga, even if you are only staying in one pose for a few minutes. I'd rather see you stay in one pose for a few minutes, at least several times a week, than spend an hour doing a full Yin Yoga class. I have a few more tutorials on Yin Yoga poses that align with the spring season and the wood element. They should be popping up now or soon, and you can explore those if you want. And I'll probably link up to some spring Yin Yoga practice. I have a bunch of them here, and in fact, I'll probably make a whole playlist of spring Yin Yoga practices. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you found your perfect butterfly pose today and that you can transform along with the wood season and expand. If you enjoyed this short tutorial, please click the like button. Help me to reach more people with free Yin Yoga. If you'd like to practice with me again, as I said, there are hundreds of Yin Yoga practices on this channel I've been doing for several years now on all different categories. Go ahead and click the subscribe button, click the bell to be notified when I add new videos. Have a wonderful day, and make sure you practice some butterfly pose this spring.